this is just a quick video to show you how I've been using the Anastasia Dipbrow Pomade. I purchased this last month, actually during my no-buy. I'm so glad that I broke my no-buy for this. I am using the color Taupe. I looked at the blonde, but I didn't like the tone of the blonde. I found that the Taupe worked a little bit better with my hair color. By the way, my hair is still completely wet right now. I just got out of the shower, so I didn't dry it yet because I actually wanted it to be out of the way for this video. So this is what the Taupe looks like. And so I'm just going to show you how I've been using it. I will try my best to not get in the way of the camera here. I'm really not the queen of tutorials. And my eye is watering. It's so frustrating. Okay, so what I've been using is the small angle brush from Sigma. I found this worked really well so far. I will probably eventually end up purchasing the brush from Anastasia, but I'm waiting until my beauty budget is over because it's, I think, $18, and I really want to work hard to stay within my budget for the remainder of the year, and I'm getting pretty close to using it up, so this works fine for now. Okay, so I just take a little bit of the pomade onto the brush. Most important thing is that you don't go right in and apply this. You really need to sort of tap off the excess. So I've been using the lid, and I just sort of like tap it in there, and that gets a lot of that excess off. And then I go in and I essentially line my brows. If that makes sense. This is kind of a multi-step process, so you don't necessarily have to do it this way, but I found that this works great for me. And let's just address the fact that, like, my eyebrows are incredibly thin. They just don't grow anymore. It's from years of over plucking them, and it's a bummer, but that's my reality now. So I basically start kind of in not quite like the very beginning of my brows, but a little ways in and underneath my actual brow, and I draw the shape that I want. So that's the first thing that I do, is I kind of create like the shape that I want. And I don't do like a really high arch or anything. And with this particular brush, because it's a little bit bendy, and this actually works in my favor, is it sort of almost lays on its side a little bit. Once I get the majority of the product off, I go all the way to the inner corner. Again, this is all like underneath my brow hair. I don't know how bright it is right here. It's probably pretty bright, but it's all kind of starting underneath, and then I work it up into the actual brow hairs. There really is not much product left on the brush at this point. Okay, so once I'm at this point, I close up the dip brow and I get out my MAC Omega, which is my brow powder of choice. It's actually a MAC eyeshadow, but it works great for my brows. So then I take my Smashbox number 12 brow brush, get a little bit on there, and I go in and fill out my brows like I normally would. So you can see that the dip brow isn't the only thing that I use. I did use it by itself a couple of days, but I just found it looked a little bit too harsh. But what using the dip brow does is it gives more definition, and it keeps the brow powder on my actual brow hairs and like the skin where there is no hair. It keeps it on there longer, especially during the hot summer months. I found that my brows were kind of starting to melt away towards the end of the day, and that's really frustrating and not good because I don't really have a lot of natural brow hair, so, and people look funny without eyebrows. So I sort of work the powder on there, and I will usually have to go in with a clean Q-tip and sort of help with like the shape sometimes. by just wiping off a little bit of the excess. You have a little bit of time to work with the dip brow, but once it sets, it sets. Like it is there. So where is, okay, and then I'm just going to take a little bit more of the Omega on the tail end. And honestly, usually my brows are not perfectly even. They never were to start with back when I had brows. I think naturally brows don't match perfectly in most cases. So it doesn't bother me that they're not like exactly alike. As long as they look similar, then I'm happy with it. So sometimes I'll go in with just a little bit more, and a lot of times I can just take some off of the lid if I want just a little bit more definition at the tail. And that's it. So the last thing that I always do, and I haven't done it to this brow yet, is I take a brow brush. This is just one from Real Techniques, and I brush through everything. And this just helps to like soften the look a little bit. My tummy's growling. Haven't had breakfast. And there you have it. Those are my brows. That's how I've been doing my brows every single day ever since I picked up the Anastasia Dipbrow. So for me, the combination of these two really work best. Like I said, my brows are basically non-existent. I need something like this to essentially glue the powder to not only the hairs, but also the skin where I try to pretend that I have brow hair. So, you know, I don't worry too much about like the individual strokes. You know how some people try to make it look like actual hairs. I don't have time for that. I wish I did, but I don't on a daily basis. I think this makes me look like I have brows. Unless someone gets like right in my face, most people think these are my natural brows. Clearly they're not, but I really do like the dip brow. If you have been on the fence about it and you have really sparse eyebrows, it works beautifully. But I don't think it's something that those of us who have really sparse brows to start with can use exclusively, if that makes sense. It looks just a little bit more natural if you use a powder along with it, especially on the inner corner, because you don't want that to be too stark, if that makes sense, or too opaque. The powder, I think, just looks a lot more natural. You don't have to use a MAC eyeshadow. You can use the Anastasia brow powder. I just think combining the two makes the best, creates the best result for me. So anyway, there you guys go. That is how I've been doing my brows for the last few weeks, ever since I picked that up. It is well worth the $18 investment, and truthfully, I could probably have this for, there's a ton of product in here for how little I use on a daily basis. Obviously, make sure that you close it really tightly every time that you're done. But that's it. That's how I do my brows. If you guys have any questions, leave me a comment down below, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.